Hey guys, I just wanted to reach out to you and let you know that Surewinder is still selling amazing products. Some of you guys have been dragging your feet for whatever reason. If your shoulder hurts, do not waste time. Pull the trigger. I just bought 4 or 5 of them, and we had 2 guys out. You know how much it cost me to pay for 2 guys being out with bad shoulders? We just pulled the trigger and we said, listen, everybody's going to have one on a truck. It's mandatory. You got to use it. Don't hesitate. Don't wait till your guys go down. It's going to cost you more. Buy a Surewinder.
What's up, guys? Ryan here, Torsion Talk Podcast. In case you guys didn't know. So a lot has happened.
Yeah,
We launched our Buckhead location
you did.
for air and overhead doors,
The third one.
our 3rd location. Our 2nd location was such a success that we decided to launch a 3rd. And this one took a lot out of me. And I think it's probably because I decided to do I have really ambitious goals this year for revenue.
Yep.
And I realized too late what needed to happen.
Yeah.
So I crammed it all into January and February, right? So that I could reap the benefits for the rest of the year. And that was we launched Phantom Screens, which has been a huge success. We did Buckhead. I'm building a house. That's just air and overhead doors and personal, not including such and such media, which is kind of my primary responsibility and where I spend majority of my time. So
They're kicking butt, though. The kids are.
man, can't even really call them kids anymore.
I will always call them kids.
We hired young, we hired a bunch of people 2-3 years ago out of college, and because I had interviewed people and I didn't agree with the way they do things, and I'm very picky, and so I hired people and trained them up, and they're freaking good. They're really good. They actually just got back from local U, learning about local SEO, learning more about local SEO, brought back some nuggets, which I thought was really cool. GDU EduCon was a few weeks ago. We did that show.
Yeah, for IDA. Yep.
Audio wasn't great because there was a lot of noise, but I think Casey stirred a little pot, I think.
That's that's his chief goal in life.
Yeah. So I actually had somebody reach out to me asking who he was, and I was like, he is amazing.
Our favorite. Yeah.
Casey. And quite frankly, I felt obligated to tell this person, you probably should meet him because he gives back to the industry, loves our industry, but has high standards like I do. He and I are pretty honest about our opinions. And he had mentioned on the podcast he was disappointed with EduCon's the booth experience because they were all in little 10x10 booths.
Yeah.
So, but that's a regional show. I mean,
yeah,
Casey just wants everything big.
He does. We have another GDU member on today.
Yeah. Well, before we introduce him real quick, I got a couple announcements. We've got I'm doing a sales training for technicians June 8th and 9th. I'll post a link for that here on the GDU Facebook page. Last time it was a huge success. We got a bunch of testimonials. And then we got GDU Summit. You want to mark your calendars. We're going to be opening up registration this week for GDU members, and then probably next week or the week after for the public. We have limited spots, so you're going to want to make sure that you register as soon as possible. We got 3 options. It's very affordable. I wouldn't say it's totally all inclusive, but it's close to it, depending on which package you choose. We take care of breakfast, lunch, hotel, everything's included. The only thing you got to do is book your flight, get down here, and then you buy your own dinner each night. So we make it pretty easy.
Yeah.
And it's on an island.
A good one.
We're on an island.
I know.
I
Got
mean,
that song
beat
in my
that?
head. Thanks.
I love it. So maybe we could shoot like one of those reality television drama shows.
Who are we going to kick off like it's Survivor?
That would
We
be
could have a
great.
fire ceremony. Oh, I would love that. The guys
would
would
be
get a kick
great.
out of it.
That would be so much fun.
They'll vote me off first thing.
Yeah. All right. So we had a guy submit a request to join GDU not too long ago. He's fairly new to the group, but we've been blessed to have him because he's got really good feedback. And just talking to him, I thought he would be great on the podcast. Smart guy, even though he probably doesn't look like it. Like, looks can be deceiving, so don't judge him based off of video if you're watching YouTube. But he runs a great operation, super smart, ambitious, hungry, super helpful, loves to help, ask good questions. And so I'm proud to have our Canadian friend, Jacob Schneider. Is that how you pronounce it up there? Schneider?
That's right. Yeah. How are you?
I don't even know if that's actually how they talk. I've been to Canada, but
No, I've never heard anyone from Canada talk with that specific accent, Ryan. Not in my life.
well,
There's quite a range depending on what coast you're on, right? It's very much like the US that way.
yeah, true that.
Yeah.
So I went to Vancouver to hang out with Kyle Hart.
Okay.
And he, like, the one takeaway that I can say that I took out of that was he taught me how to play Fortnite.
Oh,
And I went home and he was like, bro, you gotta download it and we can play together. And then I did. My wife like already has this like nervous tick every time I get on video games because her ex-husband apparently played a lot. So she's super like weird about it. And then I was always like, I'm a casual gamer. Like I'll play like every, once or twice every 6 months or so for an hour or whatever. But I think the moment where she was really concerned was when Kyle talked me into getting a headset so we could talk while we played. And she walked by the room and I'm in there talking to him with the headset and the microphone. And she's like, no, that you've gone too far. This is it. Like I gotta draw the line somewhere. I did feel like a nerd completely while I was doing it, but now it just feels second nature and I love it. Like it's so much fun.
nice.
It's just like my son. He's all over that Fortnite stuff right now.
Your son. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortnite's the best. Do you play Fortnite?
No, I watch him. He gets all over me about watching him play. So I sit down there and watch him. But I'm not a video gamer. I never could get into it. But oddly enough, a lot of our staff are. I mean, it's a popular thing in this industry, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. We really missed the mark on some company events, and we send out a survey and we find out they're all gamers, right? Like, whoa,
Nice.
no one wants to watch a baseball game. Okay.
So Jake, tell us how you got in the business.
Do you want the website version or the real version?
The real version.
The real version is
The dirty.
Yeah.
it's just like anybody. I
Is
like
your only way to launder money into Canada from the United States?
exactly, yeah.
Just kidding.
No, I had a girlfriend coming out of high school that her dad was in the industry, and I was going to school kind of thing to be a cop actually, and working at a manufacturing plant locally here, and then he needed some help, so I jumped in with him the odd time. I was like, this is pretty sweet. We're in this giant F-350 doing commercial doors. It's cool for a young guy like that, right? Torches and stuff like that, welders, I like that stuff. So got into it a little bit that way. He was really big into, he had one of those girlfriends in Cuba. So he liked to go spend quite a few months down in Cuba. So I kind of got left to my own devices there, covering all his clients with the big truck, and 6 months in, just figuring it out, right? Just like everybody does. So, you know, it was a pretty steep learning curve and pretty dangerous when you look back on it now, but I figured it out, and I was fast tracked, I would say, to be on my own that way. From there, I you know, he kind of got a little bit slow, and some of his commercial clients were, you know, starting to care a little bit more about, you know, working with companies that have safety programs, stuff like that, like they all do now. And so, you know, I ended up just figuring I'm gonna go to the auction, buy whatever truck I can afford with $2,000 or whatever I had, and found this nice truck with a cap on it, so I could put a ladder on it and store all sorts of parts in there. And then I called around into like the Toronto area and just Googled garage door companies, whoever came up, called them all, said, "Hey, I'm looking for work. I want to work as a sub. Will you have me in?" kind of thing. And, you know, a lot of them were open to that. They, you know, wanted me to come in. I met with a few of them, took the best option at the time, which was a company in Markham, Ontario, which they were kind of like a 5-truck company. So seemed a little bit bigger, you know, in the grand scheme of door companies around here. And so I, you know, they signed me up, gave me my rate sheet, and I went and killed it piece rate and made more money than I could ever imagine at 20 years old, right? So that lasted a year and a half or so before the owners there were kind of at a battle always, and they were like, you know, one kind of getting upset signing my checks saying that I'm making more than him. And, you know, at the time I didn't believe it, but now I do, right? Like I probably was at the time. And so from there, he kind of gave me the boot. He's like, you know, it's time, you know, go out and do it or don't do it, and come be an employee and you know, make an hourly rate, which was, you know, a lot lower than what I had signed up for initially. So that gave me the boot to go out, the courage to go out and do it on my own. So that's how it started. And then
How long ago did you start yours?
so that would have been in 2011 when that happened.
You've been in the game for a while.
Yeah, I started so young, right? It's, you know, really had not the experience that I should have had, but went out and just started knocking on doors, putting out lawn signs everywhere, getting the work, right? And so doing stuff that way for a while, working out of my rental house garage, and purchasing products still from a lot of the other dealers around the area, because I didn't have a manufacturer relationship yet, but making it work, right? And then from then I, you know, finally hooked up with Clopay, started doing their Home Depot program, which is not ideal. We all know that, but you know, it's at the time it was good for me. It was a good secure place to start. And when you're doing it on your own, or at the time it was me, and you know, I hired my brother. He was employee number 1, and riding in the truck. Oh, it was great. I mean, he's an extremely talented door tech.
He's still with you?
He's not currently with me anymore. He's out. I'm helping him start his own thing right now.
Oh.
Another door company or something else?
Yeah, another door company. So that's a whole nother long story. But
that's actually really cool. I tell my guys, I've told my guys in meetings before, like, if you ever wanted to start your own company, you know, who am I to try to like keep you from that? Because if I genuinely care about being an entrepreneur, which I do, and it's like in my blood and I can't change that, like I have to encourage other entrepreneurs to be true to themselves, right? So,
yep.
You know, if they want to start a business, like I feel like I'm kind of obligated to help them with that. You know, as long as they're not taking advantage of me during the process of helping them out, then I'm good.
Well, that's the thing. Like that's kind of leads us into the whole ladder of opportunity thing that we built here. That is the top rung, and that's to be a franchise owner, to be a business owner, right? I
I'm
feel as though that's going to be.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like, I'm so stoked to talk to you about this, because it's like, I think it's brilliant. And when you told us about it in GDU, I was like, we have to discuss this further, because I think it's such a unique like thing.
Yeah, so it started out, just as we wanted to start to like, over the last 4 or 5 years, I would say we've been really trying to be, do things properly, document things, processes. And it started out as, we need to find a way to bring people in as apprentices, bring them in, create this known opportunity right from the get-go that they can grow and have a great career here, no matter where they end up on that ladder, which rung they end up on, what one's right for them to kind of slow down and spend time at, or which one, like some of the guys really want to run right up through it, right? So what it is it's, we bring people in as apprentices, no experience. We bring them in, 2-week ride along. They go through then with one of our field supervisors in the training center here at our shop. And it's a pretty basic training center. It's got, 4 fully functional doors in there. It's got some all different types of operators, jack shafts, chain, belt, all that stuff. It's got a little jig, so we work on putting on decorative hardware. We got these little sample sections that we throw out, so they're actually drilling into the real steel. We got all that stuff. And so they go through that. Takes a couple weeks. They do service tighten training. They train on our sales process, the way we like to deliver customer service, the way we like to approach every job, and that's fully focused on the residential side of things still. From there, then we go. They ride along with what we call a certified tech, which is that next level on the ladder. So we call them certified tech. They focus on residential, and that's the tech that can install doors, standard lift. They can service the majority of doors. They still need to call the office for support once in a while, but they're pretty self-sufficient kind of. From there, the next level. So again, we have that apprentice ride along, and then one of the field supervisors finally does like a final test and graduation. Mm-hmm. They sign off that they can do this all in our training center. They've seen them do it in real life scenario, and they get a little certificate, and they move on. They get a bump in pay. This ladder is like, it's something that we talk about in all our meetings. Mm-hmm. It's we know that a certified tech makes $25 an hour, the 5% boost. So that's performance pay, which we focus on commission and some other things that get them that boost. Mm-hmm. So then from there, the next step is a certified master technician. So that's your technician, still residential focused. They can do low headroom, they can do high lift, they can do all the weird stuff, right? Rear mount torsion, all that stuff. And again, that's another graduation, just a testing thing. When the guys say they're ready, they talk to the field supervisor, we set up the testing, we have the checklist and all the stuff that they need to be able to do, demonstrate, and then they go on to that next level to get the pay bump, get the certificate, and they move on. And then it's from there, it's they have the opportunity to look at the commercial side of the business, right? Are they interested in working on bigger stuff, right? Some guys love that because it's a little bit less customer service focused, a little bit more technical. It's right for some guys. From there, then they can step back into being a commercial apprentice, where they're just going to ride along with another commercial tech until they can pass that next level. From there, we call it commercial tech. And again, pay bump because you're working on bigger stuff. We generally can get a little bit higher hourly rate from our clients, and the tickets are higher, so they get a higher rate. And that's your basic commercial tech. Again, they're not going to do high speed doors. They're not going to do anything crazy, but sectional, standard lift doors, jack shaft operators, all that stuff in a commercial setting, as well as they have different certifications and stuff like that as well, right? Safety certifications and stuff that they need to get done to work on commercial sites. And then from there, commercial master technician, another pay bump. These guys can do everything from high speed doors to, loading docks, all that stuff. Welding, they're experts at welding, and they can do it all. And then from there, we have right now only 2 field supervisors that kind of manage that whole process. So they're still on the job, they're still on the tools. They're like a commercial master tech, but they also get an increase based on they're taking calls from everybody. They're helping troubleshoot things with guys on site, and they're also managing this process of graduation that we have going on. And then ultimately the next level, if they're interested, is to be a franchise owner. So we'd look at an area that they might be interested in, and we'd evaluate whether they're ready. And we've gone through and done the whole franchise agreement and documents and all the stuff we need to do to make it happen. We're still piloting this, right? It's like, our first franchise right now is out in Whistler, BC.
Okay. Yeah.
He's been just over a year, and he's doing all right.
And that's Matt, the one that you that we were talking to on email.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's this ladder, right? This is like, when someone, it's not only great for the people that work here, it's great for recruitment, right? We're showing that to people, like, look what you can do.
Yeah.
Should you choose. It's not dead ended, right? It's exciting. It's what I would want if I was an apprentice looking into it. So
Absolutely. I think it's brilliant. Go. Questions.
How long ago did you establish this?
So we're probably 2 years into the plan. We're still refining it day to day. Like,
Okay.
it's not done. That's for sure.
And how big are you? I mean, you don't have to talk revenue, but like employees or.
So we have about 32 employees right now.
So you're
And
pretty big. 30, most companies that have 32 employees are at least 15, 20 million a year.
not quite, no.
Okay. So
We're
it's okay. You don't have to
see
share.
what that's what we're focused on now, right? Is we're that ratio of we're always hiring up, we're always hiring for the next level because we got this vision. And so, we're very much office heavy right now, management heavy, because we got all this stuff that we're building out, right?
Right.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're investing in the future, which is really cool because, there's very few businesses can grow at scale without investing back into their business. Meaning, pre-hiring. And what I mean by pre-hiring is like, hiring someone before you need them, not like, oh my God, we have to have this person now. That allows for a smoother transition. You get somebody in. If they don't work out, you can hire somebody else. And almost like predicting the areas where you're going to need people and having those people in the seats and fully trained and operational before you actually need them. And you can scale a lot faster that way as far as a business goes, but it's never great for the bottom line, usually, unless you have a secret sauce.
No, I mean, we don't. That's the thing, right? We really focused the last couple of years on doing it profitably still, right? We've always been this way where we're hiring for the future. And that's worked out really well to bring us to where we are and where we're going, I think. But, focusing on making sure we got a proper sales process so that we can have the right ticket size. so that we make this all happen is extremely important. And that's
But you're doing things that most companies with your amount of employees aren't even doing. I mean, that level of structure and accountability and the roadmap to success and ownership is really freaking impressive. And as you said, like our biggest challenge in our industry is hiring. And, this proves that it's not just a dead end job. Like it can be if you want it to be, but it's really designed to bring in ambitious people who want to move up and be an owner one day. So you got to have that funnel.
Well, and also
exact.
cool is it that the employees are able to see like the pay raises come at this time and are associated with these different achievements. So I think that like is great for your culture probably, right? Because you are cultivating people who are like wanting to climb that ladder, like literally.
For sure. Yeah. It's great for culture, but it was hard on the transition, right? You got all these guys that want to be grandfathered into a spot that maybe they shouldn't be, right?
Right.
So that was a challenge for sure. I mean, I think we've ironed all that out finally.
Yeah.
But that's within the last 6 months. It was a challenge for sure.
Yeah. I mean, what you just described isn't even on the minds of probably 99% of the door companies out there. Like not even on the radar. Probably.
Yeah, like I said, it's what I would want, right? What if I was coming into this industry, and I saw an opportunity like this, I probably wouldn't go out and start on my own. I'd join this and I'd figure out how to do it first, right? I'd work with a company that knows what they're doing instead of figuring it out all on your own. That's kind of what GDU is all about too, right? Not to segue that in there for you guys, but that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Finding out best practices, learning from people like, our friend Casey there, that they know what they're talking about, right?
Yep. Consistency in everything, including price, reliability, quality, not just quality, but great quality control. These are things that describe Somer USA. Somer's not some startup company, not one that you need to be worried about going out of business in the near future. Somer and their family of businesses are $200 million companies. They're in over 100 countries, and they have locations in 20 countries. This is a large organization who stands behind their product and works through integrity. And there's not another company out there willing to drop what they're doing and help you out like Somer. These guys are awesome. Not only have they been loyal to the Torsion Talk podcast, they've been loyal to the technicians and the owners of the companies who install their product. In my opinion, if you're not at least offering Somer as an additional option, you're cheating yourself. Listen, first-time dealers, I've got a special for you. If you buy 10 or more Somers, while supplies last, we will offer you free shipping. You have no more excuses. The prices are great. The product is amazing. Go check out Somer USA and order 10 for free shipping.
So I want to talk like net profits real quick, not your net profits, but just in general net profits. As you guys know, I've done some consulting. I've worked with business owners, like people share stuff with me. My experience has been like everyone I talk to who's like really ambitious on the bottom line is shooting for that 20% mark in the garage door industry. And I've yet to see like a healthy balance of great culture and 20% net profit. Only because I feel like in order to achieve 20% net profit, you're underpaying or, you're cutting somewhere where it hurts really bad. That's been my experience. Where if you're at 10 or 15%, you're probably overstaffed or staffed ahead a little bit. Where you're at 20%, you're understaffed.
right? 15 or 10% is probably ahead or staffed properly. And there's a video out there that is designed for the HVAC industry. It's a gentleman that works for Grant Cardone, and he's like leading their home service kind of division of like public speaking and whatever. And he was talking to the camera about how he likes to have $500,000 per employee in annual revenue, but regardless if it's office or in the field. So you take your total amount of employees, multiply it by 500,000, like that's what you should be. But I feel like that is that 20% range, maybe even a little bit higher. And you're sacrificing, right? Like somebody's overworked to death, or multiple people are, in my opinion. Like this is just from my observation. Now, I'm not saying there's not outliers or things that are different, but in my viewpoint, I feel like that's the way it's always been. So for someone like yourself, I just want to I say all that because I want to lead into this question. I know that it's not a stupid question. It's going to feel like it. I know net profit is important, but on the grand scheme of things to you, like how important is net profit on your journey right now in establishing franchises and getting all these systems and processes in place?
I would say it's extremely important to be healthy. We definitely have gone down that path, like maybe 3-4 years ago. We had to make some changes, right? We were trying to do all these things and be all this for our employees, for our staff, trying to build this while not figuring out how to get, the gross profit where we needed it to make this all happen, right?
Right.
So I would say it's extremely important because without it, it's, you have to sacrifice somewhere, right? Like you said, you have to push people, you have to, maybe have them work a little bit more overtime than what should be safe, I think. And you can't really be looking into the future like we want to be, right? We need this cash flow to make this all happen. I would say it's extremely important to be healthy. It's not extremely important to maximize the percentage at this point, because that would be if you're preparing for sale or something like that. When you get to be a good enough sized company, like, the money staying in the company, even if you have profit, right? Like you're using it to grow. You're not, I have everything I need at this stage, at this point in my life, right? To live a very comfortable life, and I'm blessed to have that. But what excites me is more growth and building out more opportunity for our team, right?
So let's talk about that for a second. That's a good point, right? Here's the difference. Like you use the word ambition. Like you said that you don't really have a whole lot of needs that aren't met. Like life's good. So why push it?
To me, it's you gotta recognize your own strengths and do what for me, it's about finding your why, right? Like I went through that whole process, Simon Sinek thing, found my why. It's on my wall in my office. I look at it every day. It's like
What's
one
your
of those things. So for me, it's to, provide opportunity is a big part of it. I want to be family focused. I want to provide opportunities for people. I want to be a optimistic leader. I want to lead people when they think they're maxed out. I want to show them that there's more, and that's what makes me feel fulfilled. So to me, and then I want to show my son, right, like what the opportunity is for us, right? I started, not knowing what I was doing at all, right, and just fell into this beautiful trade that we all are a part of, and have created something that excites me every day. I love coming into work, right? So I'm feeling a fulfilled feeling every day, which, you know, I think if I could help my management team and all the people coming up, potential franchisees, feel that same feeling, isn't that the secret to life, right?
Yeah. But you kind of have to know where you're going in order to get to the place that you're at, right? So like, what is that? And that could look like, you know, what is your exit strategy? You know, for your instance, you may want to pass that down to your son or sell it one day. And building that value is important. Um, but there's days like I'm not gonna lie, like a garage door business, like let's just establish something real quick. Like I just want to give credit to every business owner in the garage door industry. You guys run one of the most difficult businesses that exists on the planet, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, you
Like
got all the risk.
dude,
We
I've
got
run
people
so
out
many, I've
driving
run
around.
departments for companies. I've run my own businesses. I run a media company now that we do a bunch of different things. And this is so simple here, like at my media company. Like when I talk about dramatically different, like, you know, no drama, super easy, like just easy. Like it's just an easy business. I get recurring revenue every single month. I can do easily projections. It's not difficult. Like profit margins are good. Money's not a problem. Like we're happy. I can just cruise and we'll be good for life. But the door company, it's like, holy cow, bro. It's like one of those babies that come out of the womb, just don't stop crying after they're supposed to, you know? Like it is, you gotta, once you get to a certain size, you know, you know, when I first started, it was really easy for me because it was like, okay, you know, I just took this check for this door. I'm gonna go buy a door. And you know, like I was able to categorize everything. I think where things got complicated for me in the very beginning was, okay, now it's all in a bucket and I can't memorize how much I've got and how much is going out anymore. Right. And then it
Yeah,
was like, okay, we got a bunch of employees now. Payroll's a beast. And you still have all of these material costs. And it's like, dang, man, like, you know, I took some lumps. And then like last year, everything's phenomenal. We're kicking butt. We're doing great. And I'm like, Ryan, let's go for like 2 million extra this year. Why? Why? Right? But I was like, oh, wait a minute. Here we are like November, and we're probably already 3 months behind on doing some stuff to get us there. So we cram it all into like December, January, and February. And listen, we were $160,000 negative
wow.
in 2 months. Negative $160,000. Like, but I knew what reports to look at. I knew our pipeline. We were having weekly meetings with our team. Everything was good except for cash flow and sales numbers. Two worst months in company history, and they were back to back. And we were investing a lot into the business, and we fell flat on our face in sales. It was miserable. March, we had our biggest month ever. And then last month was one of our biggest months. So now we're positive like 15 grand, right?
Yeah.
Whoa, right? Like when we're talking about an ROI on your investment, you know what I'm saying? Like
Oh
we
yeah,
went
we've all
from,
been there. I
yeah,
think that's a common
but
thing.
it's like, but it feels good to know that I was in the weeds and we were suffering and dying. And I was like one crow's pluck away from having my guts pulled out of me. I just made that up.
I
Never.
know. I was like, that's not an expression.
It is now. It is now. And then here I am like about to die and bleed out. And then boom, all of a sudden now we're out the gate. Things are going great. We're booming.
And it's like, now we got 8 months, right? We got 8 months to crush it. And then we're break even virtually. And if we can hit our goals, we did it. And so, like, trying to add $2 million to the line in 1 year, like, I did ask myself almost 30 days ago, like, what am I doing? Why am I killing myself? Like, whose idea was this, and who can I strangle? And it's all me. Like, I do it to myself, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's poor planning. Like, we did the event in GDU, and even I had been planning prior to that, but even like, I didn't really wake up to the fact until Joseph was like, we're too late for this year, but I'm going to teach you all this stuff so that next year. And I'm sitting here like, holy cow, it's December and I haven't started on my stuff yet. Like, all the stuff that I need to do to get this thing launched, and to see the revenue. Because if you wait, like, let's say you hire a salesperson and you need that salesperson to do $1 million. It's not realistic for them to do $1 million if you hire them in June, right?
Yeah.
If their
Yeah.
goal is $100,000 a month or $80,000 a month, you're not going to get the million. You're going to get half of it, and then you may not even get that because they need a couple months of training. So then you got to rush out and hire the person like beginning of January, train them up real fast and throw them out there. And you don't see the results of that till March or April, but you're invested heavily in all the training. And I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, you are structured in a way that is set up to scale quickly. If you've already done all the franchise stuff, which is brutal. I don't know what it's like in Canada, but I know in the United States, it's not easy setting up a franchise.
No, it was a big deal. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you got to create every system and process for every freaking thing possible, and set your structure for the franchise and your buy-in rate and all that stuff. So, like, I don't think it's going to be as painful for you to jump in revenue like it was us. And it sounds like your office staff, like, instead of a company buying a bunch of different companies and trying to consolidate, like, you're in an advantage. And what I've learned with my 2 showrooms is we're at an advantage because we can consolidate resources for all 3 of our locations like you can with your franchises, right? You don't need 2 accounting people, 1 for each location. You use 1 accounting person for all locations. Yet all the other 2 locations are generating good revenue and profit. You
Yeah,
don't need a manager.
there's lots of ways we can do that too. Yeah, I've been working with Brian Scudamore for 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
No, sounds interesting though.
I've seen those trucks here.
Yeah, he owns, it's like the biggest junk removal company in the world or something like that, right?
Okay.
And it's a franchise model. It started in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, nice.
And he's part of this Entrepreneur Alliance group that I've been introduced to, and he kind of like one of these guys. Everyone wants to help each other, right? In this world, and it's amazing. But just gave me full access to talk to his management team, see how they do it. They have a centralized call center. They got 3 different businesses that are all running through that same call center. It's really interesting to see how he's doing it. And again, we're just at the beginning stages, so it's not like we have that entirely set up. But it's it's exciting, and it's something that I want to work on in the future for sure. The opportunity is there.
What's your vision? Do you have a certain amount of franchises that you want?
Well, right now in the next 3-year plan, we're actually not focused on selling franchises, right? We're still trying to prove the model. We got the 1 startup. We're trying to make sure that it's successful, that we got everything we need to go to market with it. Our current 3-year plan does not involve franchising any further. Our current 3-year plan is to increase company-owned branches, which is in Barrie and Sudbury, and so around this area here, in a big way.
Gotcha.
So, and also, you know, the beautiful part about the ladder is, you know, we're loading it at the bottom, right? And as these people come up, could take 5 to 10 years before we actually have people up to the point where they're ready to go. They're ready to buy a franchise, and they're doing things our way, right? It's not like we want to go out and sell franchises to
Right.
random people that want to own
Yeah, like
businesses.
these are people that know your business. Like, I think that's what I think is so stinking brilliant about it. Like, what a smarty you are.
Thanks. No, we just go to all these groups. We've been going to even IDA shows. I went to the first one in Indianapolis like ages ago, right? And
I was there.
you know, as much as, you know, people say you don't learn, like at the time I was learning a hell of a lot of stuff from IDA. You know, I was in every one of those seminars sitting there picking it up. And lately, if it's not that you're learning anything, it's that you're confirming that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And isn't that nice too?
There's a lot of value in that. I think people
Yep.
underestimate that. Like when I talk to people about sales training or just training in general, like even if they know it already, Josh and I had this conversation. I'm like, you know what? I say, you know, we're missing it. He's like, where? I said, we're training on something once, then we're moving on. And we assume that that's good forever because that's probably good for you and I to get, you know, like he and I are wired different. You show us once, we got it, we remember it, like it's part of it. But not everybody's like that, right? Like you gotta, you know, there's a lot of content that we gotta take in. And if you're training on the same things every 3 months or 6 months and doing reminder stuff, I think there's a lot of value in that. You know, I asked him, I said, hey, are we following all of our processes? And he's like, I think a lot of the guys are forgetting the process. And I said, whose fault is that? And he's like, it's ours. And I was like, yeah. I was like, you and I need to fix that because that means that we're not consistently training. We told them about it, trained them on it once and rolled it out. We haven't brought it up since. That's our fault.
For sure it is. Yeah. Yeah. That's what, I mean, we got this whole plan. So I had last year, I had hired a guy. He was like, came from this giant company, privately owned kind of company around here. He was their general manager. He had been there 15 years. He had seen the company go from like 5 million revenue to like 35. So he'd seen that big scale. He'd been there the whole time. And he came in, we actually unfortunately couldn't keep him based on, you know, what he cost. And it was a nice amicable split. He kind of, you know, told me that we couldn't afford him. And I was like, yeah, I see that. But what he did do is he set up so many checks and balances for the management team. He set me up to succeed. He basically moved all his meetings over to my schedule. I got real good at Google Calendar. I got real good at meeting with every manager one-on-one weekly. I got real good at running the management meetings. You know, we work on 7-day goals and 90-day goals. We got their KPIs that they're responsible for in their department. We review that. It's not a matter of, you know, what are your KPIs? Why are we under target? It's what are your KPIs? Okay, we're under target. What do you think? It's on them to own it, right? And he taught me all that stuff. Like I said, I never went through any like proper management training, but this was the crash course, and it's been great.
That's amazing.
This has been like a game changer for me in terms of that stress load too. Like you said, it sometimes feels like we got all these moving parts. And the way I've been able to combat that recently is by having people in departments that manage and own their department. And I'm just working with them, communicating very clearly with them, which is also a challenge sometimes. But setting these weekly meetings means that they know they got my ear for an hour a week, every Tuesday at 3. And that's beautiful, right? They're not knocking on the door every second hour saying, hey, you got a minute? You know, it's like they know things can wait, and we meet at that time, and they have my full undivided attention, and we work through it together, right? It's beautiful, and it's real. That's all part of, like, you know, what I love about that is like we're seeing their potential as managers come through there, right? Like I'm not micromanaging them, but I'm also not kind of just freewheeling and letting them do their thing.
Right.
You know, there's still accountability there. Because I've been bad at that in the past. You know, I've hired all sorts of experienced guys in the past and let them run with it. And we've unfortunately been going down some wrong roads. We had to kind of pull back on, right?
Walk me through your company structure, because what I'm hearing isn't like a normal garage door company. And you said you're very office heavy, which makes a lot of sense because it sounds like you have a ton of systems and processes in place with accountability and follow through. And I think that's where a lot of companies fall short is they get busy and whatever their focus was goes out the window because they're busy. And then when things slow down again, they put their focus back in it. But if you're not set up for success there, then you're not going to see the results that you want. It sounds like you have people in place to be able to help you with that. Can you walk me through maybe your org chart and what that looks like so people can understand how you structured things?
For sure. Yeah. We have myself, which I call myself the general manager as well. We have an operations manager that focuses on all the technical side of things. So the techs all run up to him. That whole ladder runs up to him. The warehouse runs up to him. Dispatching runs up to him. And then we have marketing. We have a finance manager. We have an office manager who's really kind of a systems manager. She's really great at like projects. You know, she takes things on, Service Titan, being an expert at it, making sure that, you know, configurable payroll and all that stuff is done right. And if we ever have a challenge, she's the one that investigates it. And when we're bringing on new systems, she really takes that on. Then we have our customer service manager as well. So she really is going to focus entirely on the call center and making sure the CSRs are, you know, showing empathy to the clients and booking every call that we can possibly book. And then we have an inside sales manager, and inside sales is really important because of the commercial side of the business. So when our techs are going out to those jobs, you know, you can only have so much on a truck, especially in a commercial scenario. So we have a really good system for, this is where we record what needs to happen on the follow-up visit. These are the parts that are required. It's a Service Titan form. It's all like drop downs instead of freewheeling. It goes to her and that team. It's just a team of 2 at this point, and then they go ahead and get that sold to the end user, or to the client, commercial client. All our residential sales are done by our techs on site. They have inside sales support as well, if they need to build a custom door or something like that. But most of the options, our goal is that they build them in Service Titan. So we've got a, you know, crazy huge price book built out for Clopay and AMR products in Service Titan.
Nice. And you mostly sell Clopay and AMR?
Yeah, it's mostly Clopay and AMR. Yeah, it's, you know, for us back in the day, it was Clopay. They're the ones that took me on, right? Gave me that Home Depot program, and then AMR is more recent. It's nice to have the competition. They both have decent products, and they both support us really well when we have a challenge with anything. So,
you have a guess on what their big announcement's going to be that they put on Facebook?
I can imagine. I mean, last I heard that the whole merger thing was going to be maybe blocked by the Fed or something like that. But I have heard that AMR is in a process with Clopay
To merge?
or to buy Clopay out. That's what I heard.
Whoa. I had not heard that. You heard it, ladies and gentlemen, exclusively on Torsion Talk Podcast.
I could be wrong.
Jacob's
don't
gonna be
quote
getting
me
a
on
phone
that.
call.
I'm going to do a press release and quote Jacob.
Perfect. No, we go way back with the Clopay team. They've really been great. You know, even back in the day, you know, when I was young, when we were freewheeling, we used to party on the Super Tech days like crazy. Clopay would come, the reps would bring bottles for the boys, and we used to get really wild, right? But
yeah, you Canadians, I mean, like, if you don't drink up there, aren't you like an outcast?
it seems that way. Yeah, it seems that way.
I feel like
We,
that. I mean, when I was there with like everybody was so nice, and then they started drinking, and it became like this, like this like almost like a rap battle, but there was no rapping involved. It was just like
So
your
just the
ears are
battle.
so big to your head. Yeah, just the battle. It was like everybody started cutting on each other. It was kind of fun.
oh yeah, you need thick
You guys
skin
are
in that
so nice
environment.
until you get your like fourth beer, and then it's like, oh, like, bro, you better be like proportionally built as a body, or they're gonna pick it out and mess with you.
Yeah, I've seen some of that.
I'm sensing some held back trauma from your
No,
experience.
I mean, I'm good. I'm pretty evenly built. I mean, I'm round, but I'm evenly built. So, you know, it was fine. No, it's fine. Trust me.
It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine.
Honestly, it's fine.
Tear.
I don't have any scars from those days.
Oh, that's
That's when
funny.
I ran back into the house at Kyle's and just picked up the remote, started crying, and played Fortnite. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, good times, dude. Like, I feel like we're kind of coming up on an hour, so
Yeah, we are.
I genuinely feel like we could probably do another hour. So we're
Yeah.
just gonna go. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We probably need to have you back on again in like 6 months, kind of hear your plan, like what all's going on, because your story's crazy cool. You know, the fact that you guys are supporting your team the way you are, given that roadmap, I think is awesome. I really appreciate all your contributions to Garage Door U in the group. You know, your comments are always well thought out. And you're a super smart dude, and we're glad to have you. And so, plus, I think we can now announce that we're an international peer
I
now.
know.
That was a big thing. Yeah, I remember that.
It's a
Thank
big
you
thing.
thank you for making that possible, Jacob.
That's right.
I'm gonna do another
Yeah.
press release and quote Jacob on that one too. I single
Hey, whatever.
him international. So
I'm sure it'll help with the SEO. So make sure you
There
get
you
us
go.
a backlink on that.
there you go. Well, thanks for coming on the show. I know you got a lot going on there. Your hands are full. So I appreciate you taking the time to join our podcast and share information about your company and yourself. And I genuinely believe everybody listening is going to take something away, because there were a lot of nuggets in today's episode. So thank you very much for being so open and willing to share.
Thanks for having me, guys. Love
Yeah.
everything you do, and the GDU thing is great. If anyone wants to join, there's value in that for sure.
Boom.
As
Heard
Casey say, it's kind of like therapy every Friday, right? Love
It's
it.
my therapy too.
I don't
It's my
disagree.
favorite part of everything I do, to be honest with you. GDU's awesome.
Agreed. I love it.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Jacob. If you guys want to connect, make sure you hit us up on Facebook. Don't forget, sign up for GDU Summit. It will be open soon for registration. May already be open by the time this drops, possibly. Check out garagedoorU.com. You'll see a link on there for registering for GDU Summit 23. The last summit was unbelievable. If I must quote Jake Wold, who I admire, and I think a lot of people admire in the industry, this was one of the best events I've ever been to. Didn't he say that?
He did. Absolutely.
See, I'll hang on to these quotes. We need to do a press release with that in it.
We should.
All right. Make sure you hit me up if you got any questions. If you're interested in joining GDU, you can also go to garagedoorU.com, hit apply. And once you fill out the application, we'll reach out to you, probably schedule a call, and see if we're a good fit for you. Thank you so much for listening and following along to Torch Talk Podcast. Make sure you like our Facebook page. See ya.